Welcome everyone, I'm Colette and I'm here today from Which Ways. I want to share with you 3 simple spells that you can use for protection. You can use them at any time of year, but I was inspired to do this video because I just passed through the Samhain gate where I live, and I felt like it was a good time to just share some information with you around protection. So if you've ever used magical protection, put it in the comments, share a little bit about it if you feel good about doing that, and I hope you enjoy this video. All you need for this first one is some water and a private place outside to be. You're going to be working with the powers of the overworld, the starry realm, the human world, which is the middle world, and the underworld, which is the deep below. And these are powers and realms that have been called on all over the globe, although each culture views them slightly differently. I like to start by centering myself outdoors and just trying to get some sensations with my body about each of those 3 places. For me, that might look like feeling the weight of my feet on the ground or the temperature of the ground below me, looking around and picking up the sensations and sounds of this human realm, the soundscape around me, and looking up into the sky, or maybe feeling the sensations of air and wind on my skin. Having some kind of visceral sensation of these realms is what powers the actual spell. And you don't have to use the suggestions that I gave. You can use whatever senses are strongest for you. Maybe for you, that's touch. Then I would ask for protection from each of these 3 realms, giving a little water and some breath as I ask for protection, and visualizing or naming the things that feel strong and protective to me in each of those 3 realms. So I might say, I call on the roots of the mountains that are strong deep below. I call on the ancient trees whose trunks are broad and wide and lived with my ancestors. I call on the powers of the stars above, my oldest ancestors. I ask for protection by the power of 3, as I will it, so mote it be. And then I offer the last of the water and give another breath of appreciation. You can use my finishing phrase if you want, or change it to something that is more meaningful and personal to you. The power of this spell is the power of 3. So you can also change the 3 realms to something that works better for you. For instance, you could call on land, sky, and sea, sun, moon, and stars, ancestors, spirit folk, or deity. Whatever feels most helpful to you. I like to continue making offerings to these realms and places whenever I can. Some practitioners do that every single day as a way to develop a relationship and make sure they don't unintentionally offend any of those realms. And that's up to you whether or not you have space in your life for that kind of practice. And speaking of offerings, I would love it if you would give some offerings to those oh so mysterious algorithm gods by hitting like, subscribe, and maybe the notification bell if you find my content worthwhile. And I want to thank everyone who is already doing that on the regular. The second spell is a little bit more of a charm, so start by getting a dark or black rock. Obsidian is great. For me, the important thing is that it's one that you find that speaks to you personally. Wash the rock and hold it in your hands and try and make some kind of connection with it. For you, that might look like warming it with your body heat, or breathing into it, or visualizing a mutual thread of connection going back and forth between you and this rock. If this rock isn't willing to work with you after all, find another one and start over. Then ask it to offer you protection and strength, and visualize the solidity of that rock radiating into your body. Then place it in a red charm bag or on a red piece of cloth. I like to add some herbs like cinnamon and rosemary to it just to speed up the process. Rocks are very strong, very solid, very good protection, but their process is a little slower than ours. Then I tie up my charm bag or my piece of cloth with cord, and I like to use 4 knots when I'm working with protection, because to me 4 represents foundational strength, like the 4 corners of a house. Light a candle next to the rock, and if you have a red candle laying around, you could use that. That would be really helpful, but I usually just use a yellow beeswax candle because that's what I always have nearby. Then let that candle burn all the way out, and when it's gone all the way out, your spell is done. You could take that rock and put it somewhere central in your house where it won't be obvious to casual observers. You can also vary this spell by charging 4 rocks in this way and placing 1 in each of the 4 corners of your house. This one depends on you having a good feeling or relationship with spiders. And I really like this spell because it acts both as protection and as a protective filter around your house. So start by gathering up some spider webs. Sometimes using a twig is really helpful to just gather it all up. You don't need very much. As I gather the webs, I think about them the same way that I would if I was gathering herbs for magical use, and I talk to them and let them know that I'm gathering them for filtering and protection. Once I've gathered them, I put them in a bowl of clean water, add a pinch of salt for a little bit more protection, stir the whole thing with a twig from the tree for a little extra strength. Then using your fingers or a branch of rosemary or that twig that you stirred the water with, you distribute that water around your house in a whole ring around the whole area and thank the spiders for what they offered you. Protection spells are really personal, so feel absolutely free to adapt and change these however works for you. If you're a beginner, you might want to use them as is to just develop some confidence. If you've been doing it for a while, you might feel more comfortable adapting them. It's totally up to you. And I'm working right now on collecting information and sharing and putting down what I know for a video I'm making on the magic of ancestors and working with them. And if that's something you're interested in, I'd love you to just put yes, ancestors in the comments. That would be great. If you're enjoying my content, I also would really love it if you checked out my Patreon page. There's really great content on there starting at $5 a month, and I am still running a promo for extra benefits if you sign up this fall for 1 more month. So do that if you choose, and you're called to do that. Otherwise, until I see you again, stay safe and be